I want you to think of one kid, a kid who checks out, who doesn't seem to try. His hand never goes up, pencil never moves. Do you have a name in your head? All right, good. Hold on to that name, because today I want to challenge something almost every one of us has believed about that kid, myself included, and show you how to engage students in the classroom who look like they've simply stopped trying. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. I know what it feels like to lie awake at night thinking about that one student you can't quite reach. You start to question yourself. You wonder if you're doing enough. You wonder if you're caring too much. And still, when you go back into that classroom, you're not sure if that student or your entire class is even going to receive what you're trying to teach them that day. It's a lot. It's a lot. And the fear of burnout is real. The thought of, can I really keep doing this? That's real. And I want you to hear this. You're not the problem. You know how to be a good teacher. And you certainly don't need someone telling you what to do. You really don't need a new program to implement, and you certainly don't need a new initiative. What you need is a reset. There is a way to teach that feels calm and creative and connected to who you are as a teacher. There's a way to get back to that feeling that you had when you first started teaching, that feeling of hope and excitement and smiles and getting really excited to go in and set up your classroom for the day. I know because I'm there again. I know because I've helped teachers get there again. And listen, you don't have to piece this all together by yourself. Let me help you. If something inside of you is whispering, yeah, I think I might need this, listen to it. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset. Check it out and see if this is something that you think might help you. We're going to work together to reset your classroom and protect your love for teaching. Before we get into how to engage students in the classroom, the actual shifts that help, I want to start with a belief, one that I've thought myself, and maybe you have too. And here it is. They just aren't trying. That kid that you're picturing right now that I asked you to get inside your head, it can feel like they've just checked out, right? Like they don't care. Like effort is just something they're not even willing to give. And if you've thought that, I'm not surprised because it's one of the most frustrating parts of teaching a struggling learner. You're pouring everything you have into that lesson, and it feels like it's bouncing right off of them. And of course, it looks like lack of effort from where you're standing because, well, I know I've stood in that exact spot. But here's what I've come to realize, both in my own classroom and in working with other teachers. What looks like lack of effort is often a lack of access. These students aren't always refusing to try. Sometimes they are genuinely in a place where they don't know how to start. And underneath that, there's usually something deeper. Maybe it's embarrassment. Maybe it's frustration. Maybe it's that quiet feeling of, everyone else in here gets it and I just don't. So instead of raising their hand, they shut down. And instead of trying, they just avoid. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever avoided starting something? If you're human, you probably have, right? Not because you didn't care, but because you genuinely didn't know where to begin. Let me give you an example. Think about the last time you had to have a really hard conversation, maybe with a coworker, or maybe your own kid, or maybe with a friend. You knew it needed to happen. And you cared about getting that conversation right. And still, you put it off. Not because you didn't care, but because you just didn't know how to start it without making it worse. Or how about this one? Think about a project at home that you've been avoiding. Not a small one, but the kind where every time you walk past it, something in your chest tightens a little. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You just don't know where that first step even is, and not knowing feels worse than not starting. Or maybe it's something even smaller, but it still gets you. Like an email that you've reread a dozen times without sending it. You know what you want to say, you just can't find the right version of it, and it feels a little risky to send. That feeling, the tightening, the putting it off, the rereading something without sending it, that's not laziness. That's what it feels like to want to do something and just not know how to begin it. It's uncomfortable enough as an adult with a fully developed brain and decades of practice managing hard feelings. Now imagine being 8 or 12 or 15 with far less practice managing that discomfort, far less language to explain it, and an entire room of peers watching to see if you can keep up. That hesitation, it's not laziness. It's an access problem, dressed up like a motivation problem. Kids do the exact same thing. We just call it by the wrong name sometimes. And if we keep calling it the wrong name, well then here's what happens. We respond to the behavior instead of the cause. We push harder on a kid who's already overwhelmed. We say things like, come on, just give it a try, to a student who would try if trying didn't feel so impossible. And the gap between that kid and the rest of the class, it starts to grow wider and wider year after year. So here's the shift I want you to think about. We teachers have to lean into the compassionate side of ourselves, not just to see the behavior, but to start to understand what could be underneath it. That's exactly why engagement is one of the 3 legs of your classroom's tripod, alongside connection and regulation, and why all those 3 legs of the tripod make up such a huge part of the reset framework. A disengaged classroom is really just a motivation problem. It's an access problem that wears a motivation costume. And once you understand that, it can really change how you respond to students. This specific lesson was shown again and again to me this past school year with various students that I specifically pinpointed during the school year and started to really look at them and understand what might be going on underneath the behavior. I had students completely shutting down, putting heads on their desks, saying that they hate being in my classroom because they hate the topic. Students constantly out of their seat because they just didn't want to settle in and try to do the work. But with a little bit of curiosity on my part, and patience, and compassion, and a little bit more patience, I started to realize that their issue wasn't behavior, it wasn't motivation, it was the access point for them to be successful in the classroom. Now, I've talked about some of these kids in past episodes. In episode 128, I talked about a kid named Nick. And number 145 is when I talked about another one of my students who I did this with, and his name is, well, I'm calling him Devin. These are all made up names, by the way. But this is how it works, and I'm going to give you a quick 3 easy steps on how to do this with a student that you have in mind. But first, if this type of thinking is really landing for you right now, I want you to come spend some real time with me on this. I'm hosting the Classroom Reset Challenge coming up at the end of July. It's 3 days, 1 hour per day, completely free. We're going to work through some real practical ways to improve student behavior without dealing with, cutesy little strategies or figuring out consequences all the time. We're going to prevent burnout, and I want to share with you how to really build a classroom that you actually love without overhauling everything that you already teach. This is going to be PD that really, really helps you as you're thinking about and heading into a new school year. And PD hours are also available. So go to theinspiredclassroom.com/challenge to sign up. Even if you can't make the live sessions that we're going to have at the end of July, no problem. The replays are going to go out after each session, so it's totally worth it to just go grab your spot at that link, okay? I'll also put it in the show notes. So I want you to think back to that student that you pictured at the start of this episode, because here's the good news about heading into this next school year with all of this in mind. You don't need a brand new curriculum or a totally different approach to every lesson. Learning how to really engage students like that in the classroom, it often comes down to one thing: noticing the moment a student stalls and then getting curious about why, instead of assuming that you already know. So here's what I want you to carry into this fall. And I'm calling it the access before effort check. 3 steps. Step 1, name the kid. The one that you pictured at the start of the episode, hold that student in mind. And if you are now listening to this and you're already inside your school year, who is that one kid? Name that kid. Say the kid's name out loud. Write it down on a piece of paper. Just get that one intentional kid that you want to hone in on. Then step 2 is ask the question. Ask the access question. So the next time you see them stall or stop or refuse, ask yourself, is this effort or is this access? Don't answer it just yet. Just ask yourself. Just that one pause is going to be so helpful. And then step 3, get curious before you start responding to the kid. So instead of pushing them to try harder, try to ask them a question. Get curious a little. Ask, where did this start feeling hard for you? Or maybe you ask, what can I do to help you here? Or maybe you'll ask something like, what part of this feels confusing right now? When you ask these questions, go ahead, get down to their level if you need to. Squat next to their desk, lean over and just have a moment just with him or her. Maybe ask something like, can you show me where you got stuck? Or maybe, what would make this feel a little less hard? Just get curious. Any one of those types of questions does the same job. It shifts the moment from, pushing them further to a question, from judgment to some curiosity. That's it. Name the student. Step 1. Step 2, ask the question, is this effort or is this access? And then step 3, get a little curious. I hope this gave you just a different way to see that one student that you had in mind. And if you want to talk through this even more, I would love for you to come to the Classroom Reset Challenge that's happening in just a couple of weeks in July. 3 days, totally free, great workshops inside of this challenge for you to do. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/challenge to sign up. That kid that you had in mind, they're not choosing not to try. They're just waiting. They're waiting for someone to notice what's actually in their way. And you can be that teacher. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.